Welcome to Talking Giants player profiles and projections. Today we have running back, tailback Corey Clement, 5'10", 220 pounds, 26 years old. We know him from the Eagles. He had some success versus the Giants in the past, but we're going to forgive him for that. Do you remember when Corey Clement was signed and who he was signed with the same day?
He was signed, we put out an episode in May, on May 18th we put out an episode. So I'm going to say around maybe May 17th. I'm going to say next day we had an episode out. And Calvin Benjamin.
It was after rookie camp. Calvin Benjamin and Corey Clement were signed.
What day did we sign him? Do you know the exact day?
Probably like 2 weeks. May 18th might make sense. I don't know.
May 17th makes sense because we put on an episode May 18th reacting to it.
Then yeah, May 17th. That
There
makes
you
sense.
go.
All right. Signed as a rookie camp invite along with Calvin Benjamin. In 2020, 21 carries, 75 yards, a touchdown, 5 catches for 25 yards, a down year. Didn't play in 2019. 2018, 68 carries, 259 yards, 2 touchdowns, 22 catches for 192 yards. And then in 2017, 74 carries, 321 yards, 4 touchdowns, 10 catches, 123 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Had the 100-yard receiving game in the Super Bowl for the Eagles. Justin, he is a quick, elusive back with receiving ability, and he's going to be the RB3.
It's kind of crazy that he's 220 pounds.
Yeah, I almost don't believe that.
He's beefy.
If he was like 6'1", yeah, but he's 5'10". I almost don't believe he's 220 pounds.
Because I was looking into how is he as a pass blocker, which may be the most irrelevant thing when you have Saquon Barkley and Devontae Booker, who is well versed in everything but not spectacular in anything. But I was looking at his pass block, and I'm like, this dude's 220 pounds. So and the fact that he graded out well, yes, I just looked at the PFF grades. He graded out well as a pass blocker in 2018. Actually, graded out pretty well. The fact that he did that and he's 220 pounds, I think that, he's beefy. He could take it. He could take some blitzers coming up the middle, Bobby Skinner. Is it crazy to say that Clement can be an RB2 on some teams, even though he was a rookie camp invite? Is it crazy to say?
No, not at all. And one of my things for him is if Saquon were to go down again, last year it was like panic mode. It's like Wayne Gallman, we're not even keeping him active. Let's sign Devontae Freeman. If Saquon were to go down again, I feel a lot better now with Devontae Booker and Corey Clement because Clement can kind of, fulfill some of those third down receiving roles. With Saquon Barkley, I view him as the same role as Dion Lewis was supposed to have last year. That's what I think his role will be. Using some receiving stuff, certain maybe a carry or two a game. Okay, Dion Lewis had 29 carries last year, and that's without Saquon. Over under that many carries for Corey Clement.
29. That's 2 a game. It's less than 2 a game. I'm gonna go. Can I hit 29?
No, you got to go over under. 29 is not a number you push on. Over under 29.
Push. I'm going over and with how about 30? How about that?
I'm going under because he is the RB3 at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And as much as they want to ease Saquon back in, I don't think it's going to mean Saquon is as a split back with Booker and Corey Clement. And Booker is going to get those RB2 carries, so I do think it's going to be under. So I think he'll have a limited role. And he is a player with flaws to his game. And I think we saw a little bit in this preseason game. He likes to bounce. When the hole may not be wide open and obvious, he likes to bounce the play.
He likes to bounce and he's not Saquon Barkley.
Yes, exactly. And it's while he's elusive and has some ability and some of those plays will become big plays, or good decent plays, he doesn't have that much ability where it's oh my gosh, this big play threat of Corey Clement. And he's got fumble issues. He has 6 fumbles on 200 career touches when you add up his carries and his receiving, 6 fumbles. So
fumble in the preseason.
We saw the fumble in the preseason game. So he's not he has issues, but I think as an RB3, I feel very confident about him. And if somewhere to go down, he's RB2. It's okay, I feel a lot better than this than I would have a Gary Brightwell type.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I was going to go next, where I feel a lot better about Corey Clement being on the team because he also does have special team experience. What does he have special teams experience in? I don't know, because I made a promise to myself that I'm not going to formulate takes based off of special teams, but you still have to consider it. So I would rather have him, Corey Clement that is, because he has extensive special teams experience with some sort of upside as an RB3 compared to Gary Brightwell, who was solely drafted to be a special teamer, and he's not that great of a running back. So, Pettigrew is a big play guy. Eagles Super Bowl, receiving touchdown, averaged 12 yards after the catch in 2018 when he had 22 catches. And Bobby, you did make a video on Corey Clement's best moments against the Giants. I recommend people checking that out, or maybe you want to share it again because we're doing a PPP. Maybe I'll share it from the Talking Giants account.
How about I retweet it right now?
Yeah, just
and
randomly.
It'll be on people's timeline, so like you can go back and look like a couple days for it. So
there's some good moments. He had some touchdowns, broken tackles, even some moments last year in 2020.
Who do you think was the top Giants receiving back in 2020? He had 127 receiving yards.
That's a great question. It had to be Gallman.
No, it was Dion Lewis.
It was Dion Lewis. Yeah, because it's
Gallman
funny.
Doesn't add anything as a receiver. And that's one reason why he's not here.
It's funny how you said how, Corey Clement is going to be what Dion Lewis was last year, or what we wanted Dion Lewis to be last year. But I feel like that's two different things. What we wanted Dion Lewis to be last year and what he was last year are two very different things. So I think
over-under.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hitting another over-unders. Does he surpass the 127 receiving yards from Dion Lewis? In his career, I'm going to say it's under. Because in 2018, where he got 68 carries, he's not going to get that many. He had 22 catches for 192. In 2017, he had 10 catches for 123, and he had 74 carries that year. So he's only gone over once, so I'm going to say under.
Yeah, I'm also going to say under. I think it's more likely that he gets more carries than catches because I think the Giants are going to have to tell Daniel Jones to intentionally target Saquon Barkley in the passing game because that's not that's not typically what he does. Daniel Jones, he's not going to be checking down to the running back. He would rather check down to the tight end. And if Saquon Barkley ever goes down, I don't think the Giants are ever going to tell Daniel Jones, hey, you have to throw the ball to Corey Clement.
Yeah, that's true. And as much as we didn't like the way, like, Dion Lewis wasn't what I expect him to be, it's like they flat out just used him as a receiver reps, where it was like, the Tampa Bay touchdown. There was a third down versus Washington, the Philly throw on the sideline. So there was like actual receiving reps for Dion Lewis that I don't think Corey Clement would get. So maybe the most inconsequential player that we do a PPP on is Corey Clement. Maybe a Fedio Denebo, now that we're looking back at it.
Yeah, that's going to be fun to listen to, especially, is Fedio Denebo going to get cut? It's kind of bizarre. Yeah, Bobby, I think we had to fill in a little behind the scenes look. We had to fill in Corey Clement because somebody else didn't get a PPP, or we just needed to find a player to fill the date. And Corey Clement fit the bill. So sorry we're doing this to you, Corey Clement. We're excited for you, but probably not going to get a lot of reps if Saquon's healthy.
All right, we'll see you guys next time. We appreciate you. Until then, let's go Big Blue.